Hello, welcome to another episode of the Benchwarmers. I'm Matt, here with my co-host Ryan.
Hey everyone, welcome to the 20th episode. That's right, we made it to 20. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on Google Play Music, Apple Podcast, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and YouTube, as well as follow us on Twitter at Benchwarmers06.
On today's episode, we'll be discussing the Sixers general manager Brian Colangelo's Twitter fiasco, and then we will discuss the 2018 NBA Finals between the Cavs and Warriors.
The Benchwarmers.
Okay, so let's discuss this, Ryan. As Sixers fans, this isn't good. Our general manager, Brian Colangelo, is a idiot. That's all I could say. He has fake Twitter accounts that he uses to basically reveal medical information on players or insult players. It's not even like bums on the team. These are star players. He spoke about Embiid, Fultz, and even, I mean, granted, it's Jahlil Okafor, but still, these are players that were all part of the team, and this is not something the general manager should not be doing. This is something that I could see fans doing, or media members I could understand, but a person in the front office, this is ludicrous. Like I didn't think that a person of this stature would go this low to basically make himself look good, and I'm actually disappointed that this is our team and our general manager that is doing it. So Ryan, I don't know what you think about this. I'm assuming you agree with me that you're not happy about this, and I really hope this doesn't affect our ability to get free agents this coming year.
I'm ecstatic about this. This is wonderful. No, you're right. I agree. This is ridiculous. Now this is all allegedly, okay? They haven't broken the news of whether they're proving him to have done this or not. He is saying it was his wife. He only knew about one of them. All right, let's just get real here, dude. Come on now. It's a joke. You're kidding. Like, we believe that your wife's going to be doing all this stuff. You're pinning this on your wife? Like, come on now. That's a stretch. Get rid of him. Get him out the door. This is just a disgrace to the 76ers organization, all they've built, and you're back to this. It's kind of like, well, why do you want to come here? I agree with you. This could possibly hurt some chances. This is fiascos that, star players that we're trying to get don't want to be a part of. Why do you want to be a part of a general manager like this? That's why they just got to get rid of him and out the door. Like, they shouldn't have even taken this long. As soon as they heard the news, they suspend him, get rid of him, just drop him off. Because now you're letting this linger for... been almost a week or more at this point, and you still have nowhere near decided something. They're supposed to be coming out with something soon, but just get going. This hurts, possibly, if you want to see a Kawhi Leonard or PG-13 or even, LeBron James himself, any one of those guys, I highly doubt want to come to a team where their general manager is doing this shady stuff behind your back, but yet making yourself look good about your collar or whatever it may be. Like, come on now, dude. How insecure are you? Like, get the hell out of here. Just go away and just put somebody else in that position. You can find another general manager out there. He wasn't the one who started the whole team and got them to where they are, to the full extent of everything. So just get rid of him, get him gone, because this is out of control. You're blaming your wife for everything. You just own up to it. You're gonna be found out sooner or later. They'll be able to pinpoint it. Like, you can track everything through the internet now, man. Like, what do you not understand about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I agree. Very insecure. And even if it is his wife's fault, how would she know the information? It's obviously through him. It's not like she has any kind of insight besides him. So they're both connected. So he clearly has to get fired. And is he really that insecure that he has to go to this level to insult people? Like, does he not understand that he was hired for a reason? Maybe not the right reason, because Ryan, obviously Hinkie was basically thrown out the door when the NBA got involved, and they basically brought Jerry Colangelo and his son Brian to the Sixers because they got tired of this, basically the process in tanking. So they wanted to stop that, and now they brought these guys in. But these guys, they didn't do anything. They didn't make any great moves to basically do anything to help the team. I mean, all we basically did was have the guys become healthy again. Simmons and Embiid were healthy, and boom, we're good. Like, it didn't sound like the Colangelos brought people in that were excellent. I mean, sure, they
Not at all.
they signed Ilyasova and Bellinelli, sure, but it's not like these are like superstars. These are decent role players, which helped the team, sure. And we basically gave away Okafor for free. So, what did he do? What did he do to help the team so greatly? So I'm not going to be losing any sleep over Colangelo getting fired.
Well, that's the thing is like you said, Hinkie did all this, so bring him back. Screw what the NBA wanted to get rid of him for. Bring him back. He did something for this team. He brought the guys to the team. He got them all together. Whereas Colangelo has done nothing whatsoever for this team. Like I said, he got some role players. Okay, he got rid of Okafor for nothing. And I think that kid may have had potential if they used him properly and some things. But all in all, he's only created more problems for us. This is not what you want to see, not what you want to have happen. Tying a season, yeah, that's bad, but that's just bad for the NBA and them making money. For instance, this is a personal issue, and you're hurting us as a team and everything. Just the fact that it's gone on this long is just ridiculous. Like, day one, they should have been like, all right, let's look into it a little bit. By day two, he should have been gone because there's no way you couldn't have figured all this out by then, especially with everything coming out and his story behind "it wasn't me" type of deal. Just get gone. Just out of here. You should have not have been people we picked up. We could pick up new people, or we can go back to Hinkie and do something different. Like, just go away because you have not done anything helpful for this team whatsoever.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like the only reason why he's respected is because his dad, Jerry Colangelo, is very well respected. So I think he's just riding off his dad's coattails, which is fine. Good for him. But it's time to go. And I actually had a notification earlier today saying that they should be deciding soon. They had a meeting. The Sixers had a meeting with both Colangelo and his wife. So I hope the decision that they come with is that he's let go, because any other decision makes absolutely no sense to me, and I would literally have to question what the Sixers are doing as a franchise if they keep this guy on board in any capacity. He has to go. You can't keep him on. I don't care if you demote him to some other position. No, not allowed. He has to be let go, 100%. He could go do whatever he wants. Not part of the Sixers.
So you're saying if they keep him or do anything different, you agree that it will definitely hurt our chances of getting anybody in the free agent market this year?
Yes, and LeBron James was making jokes about the Twitter fiasco, and if he is making jokes about it, he ain't coming here, and I'm pretty sure us as fans, even if LeBron doesn't come, fine, but Kawhi, PG, like those guys that you named earlier, they know what's going on, and if they know that he's part of this still, they're not coming. You know that. Why would any star athlete want to come here if the general manager is going to be talking crap behind your back? No athlete wants that. They want transparency, and they want respect. And clearly, Colangelo is not able to give that to them. Ryan, one more thing on this subject before we move on. This story was broken by The Ringer, which was basically a vehicle created by Bill Simmons, a Celtics fan. I'm not saying those guys did anything to sabotage the Sixers, but do you think if this was instead something about Danny Ainge and the Celtics, would he have broke this, or would he have let it go?
Oh, he would have let it go and held it, possibly, just a simple fact of his team. But I say that sort of jokingly because, me not being a huge Celtics fan and all that stuff, but if you knew about it, no matter who you are, you should be breaking that news, because that shows disrespect to your entire organization as a fan, as as anything, that you want to get that person out the door by saying, hey, listen, this is what's going on. So I would hope that he would do the right thing, but, not all Celtics fans do the right thing. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I agree with you. I think him as a owner of that company, I feel like he has to break it, right? I mean, that's his job. Even though he is a fan of the team, he has to do what's right for his employees, and he can't stop one of his writers from not putting the story out there. It's clearly a important story. It's breaking news, something that people need to know. So that's why I even though the negative me wants to believe that he would basically hide this, I just can't see that happening. I don't think any smart person would do that just because they're a fan of the team. So I would like to believe he wouldn't, but obviously we would never know because it's on the Celtics or the Sixers. Yeah, I just think.
Or we do know because it's already happened and he's keeping it under the wraps. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, as of right now, we don't know anything about Danny Ainge. But I guess at least out of respect of who he is, I mean, I do respect him as a writer and a podcaster. That I don't think he would hide it, but obviously we'll never know.
So after that little fiasco, let's get into some finals talk. Since we're talking about LeBron James, and every week, like we said, it continues that way. We talked about it even with the Colangelo thing. We're going to talk about it with the finals. And the 0-2 that the Cavaliers are down to the Golden State Warriors. If you guys watched Game 1, it was a fantastic game. It was not what anyone expected it. It was a close game. It was back and forth. And all in all, the Cleveland Cavaliers should have won that game. It was a tough fought game, 51 points from LeBron James in an overtime game, and they still lost. First player ever to score that many points and lose an overtime game. It's kind of ridiculous all in this whole game what happened. And the fact of, as I love to degrade J.R. Smith and will continue to even more, and how stupid of a basketball player he is or was in that moment. I don't know what was going through his head. Maybe he was thinking that tortilla soup that he had thrown earlier in the season. I don't know. But utterly just stupidity. Just put the ball back up. And every single excuse he's come with after the reason as to why he didn't is just a joke. Like, dude, just stop talking at this point. You can also blame it on the refs and some bad calls here and there. But all in all, LeBron James' teammates could not finish the game when he needed them to most. What were your thoughts on that first game?
I agree 100%. We say this basically on a weekly basis that we feel bad for LeBron James. Regardless of what he does, he has continued dragging his team to the finish line. He scored 51 points like Ryan mentioned, and you lost. That has to feel disheartening. I mean, how much more can this guy do? Sure, JR screwed up, but also George Hill missed a free throw. Let's not forget that. George Hill could have hit that free throw and put them up by 1. Of course, that would have gave Golden State a chance to win the game, sure, but at least it's a free throw. I mean, and George Hill is a pretty decent free throw shooter, so you would have hoped that he could hit a free throw, but clearly he was not up to that task. JR obviously didn't know the score. I mean, I'm not going to say that I would forgive him for that, because I mean, he is a professional athlete. He gets paid millions of dollars, and knowing the scores seems like a pretty simple thing to know. I mean, I feel like both me and Ryan played sports long enough, and I've never really not forgot what the score was, especially with 4 seconds left in the game in a championship. I feel like that's not the time to forget. But it is J.R. Smith, and he does love his Hennessy, so I don't know what he was partaking in during timeouts, but he clearly did not know, because I know right after that occurred, you could see the video where he tells LeBron that he thought the game was tied, or he was up by 1, but then then afterwards, and he said that he did know the score. So it's like, JR, why don't you say the truth? I mean, we know you screwed up. There's no point of backtracking now. Just admit you screwed up and just move on. But Ryan, let me ask you this.
Yes, I would have punched him in his face.
I mean, I don't know if you saw the video during the timeout where LeBron basically asked Tyronn Lue, hey, did we have a timeout? And he's like, yeah, we had one more timeout. And then you can see LeBron was like, what the hell? Like, why didn't you call it then? But it's like everybody on the team screwed up. Hill's free throw, JR's not knowing what the heck he's doing. Lue does not calling the timeout. Like, the whole team basically just fell apart. And then in overtime, you could just basically tell that LeBron just checked out. He's just like, all right, screw it. I did everything I could. We had our chance and we blew it. I'm not really going to try that hard because he went 0 for 4, and I don't even know how many points the Cavs scored as a team in overtime because they ended up just getting destroyed. They lost by double digits. So I want to say that LeBron could have been a great leader at that time in that crossroads where they're going to overtime and get his team together and, like, maybe, motivate JR, like, hey, you screwed up, but, hit a couple threes here, we could win this. It's not like JR is a horrible shooter. We know he could hit threes. So he could have motivated his team in overtime to get that back, but no. Instead, he basically unraveled. He gave up. The rest of the team saw that, and they fell apart too, and then they got massacred. So, I don't know. I feel like he did score 51, so I can't fault him 100%, but you would think that a great leader would get his team back in that mode. Hey, it's like, hey, we didn't lose it yet. Let's get it together and win it. We still have a chance, but that's not what happened.
Well, I'm not saying LeBron James didn't at least go out and try. I mean, listen, I watched the overtime. I'm not saying I didn't, but I'm not saying he didn't try. But this man was tired. He just
no, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear
games
that.
before.
No, I don't,
he put his heart into those
you
first
can't
4
be
quarters.
tired. You can't be
yes,
tired.
you can be tired.
Nah.
You can be tired and still try and push your team. If you're missing shots, you're missing shots. The whole team decides to. It may not have just been. Listen, we're saying it's him. Everyone else made a mistake. Lou screwed up. That whole entire team screwed up. But everyone's morale was down after that moment. Unless LeBron James punched J.R. Smith in that moment and the morale was back up, there was no way that was changing. Like, you talked about that so nonchalant. If that had happened in a game that we were playing, you would have gone off on somebody. The fact that he even had that much composure, I was shocked about, because I would have snapped on somebody.
No,
like, let's get real here.
No, you're right. Me and you both would snap, but we would have some kind of reaction. LeBron basically sat on the bench and just checked out. There was nothing. He didn't talk to anybody. He just like, all right, screw it. Like, let me ask you a question. You know for a fact Michael Jordan or Kobe would destroy people. He would destroy the whole team if he had to, and then he come into overtime and start gunning. Like, all right, screw it. I'm going to score 50, another 50. Like, that's what they do. LeBron, instead, he kept passing around, even though he knew he had a bunch of idiots on his team.
But he's been doing that all season, all playoffs. He's been passing the ball around.
Yeah, but when you score 51,
what he had to do.
When you're going 51, go for 60 at that point. I mean, why can't you?
You're just hoping your players can adapt and feed off your passing and score for you and not fail you like they have done all season and that game.
All right, then.
That's all I'm saying. It's what he does. You would still be passing the ball. People would still be passing the ball. Not Kobe and Jordan, obviously not as much, but LeBron's always been a pass-first type player for the most part. He always looks for the open man because they're always going to cover him, and he hopes his team can feed off of that. That's how he's always played the game. That's not him not going out and giving it his all. That's how he plays the game. He believes in his teammates, and he believes his teammates can believe in him by that. So his teammates failing were just the fact that they just gave up because their team's a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, I mean, but let's not forget the fact that he did bring this team together. He gave JR that extension. He gave Tristan that extension. What a waste of money. What are these guys doing for him?
Tristan was a waste of money. I didn't understand that one bit.
How about JR? You just
never
made fun
a
of
huge
JR.
fan of him. I don't like JR one bit. I think that was stupid as well. But then again, being a Sixers fan and the fact that we extended Covington as long as we have is just as dumb. So I got issues on anybody in that area of thinking they can shoot threes and really can't. But he believed in him, and
he also
and he
ran
was
off Kyrie.
somewhat okay.
Kyrie's not on the team anymore. He could use Kyrie now, couldn't he?
He definitely could have used Kyrie. I don't know if that would have made that game one difference, but that game two was just utter trash. I don't even know why they should have to play.
What did he even get for Kyrie? He got Isaiah Thomas and Jay Crowder. They're not even on the team anymore. So basically, you got a bunch of
nothing.
Yeah,
he got nothing. It was basically the Sixers trading away Okafor and got nothing except he traded away a star. Well, didn't trade. He decided to leave because he didn't want anything to do with LeBron because he felt that LeBron was a cancer and took over the team and didn't share the way he wanted the team and the ball to be shared as much. And then look, he ended up getting hurt and didn't even end up playing against LeBron in the final. So, hey, what goes around comes around, I guess.
LeBron can't keep getting credit for carrying a team to the finals if he built it. He wanted these guys. That's the point I want to get across. You can't forget that fact. Like, his team is garbage because he wanted this garbage. So
well, his team had Wade and everybody before that, and then they traded everyone away. So you're saying LeBron said, "Let me get rid of them all."
Yes. Who else
I fully
would?
agree. I just want to make sure we're on the same page on that. That's all. I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
I mean, he basically plays general manager on that team. He tells them, "Hey,
he's a player, coach, and a general manager. He does everything on that team."
So okay, I agree. Hence why I'm saying we can't give him credit for bringing this garbage to the finals if he brought the garbage in the first place. Like, hey man, you did this to yourself. You could have kept Kyrie. You could have kept him happy somehow. I'm sure you would have figured out a way. I mean, he's a smart guy. He would have figured it out if he really wanted to. But no, he didn't care.
It didn't seem like he knew what was going on with Kyrie from what everything that they talked about and showed. Like, Kyrie just went on his own and decided to just drift away. And then, oh wait, you're leaving me? It was like a shock to him from everything that I saw in the offseason last year that he had no idea. He thought everything was good with him and Kyrie. Not fully, obviously, because they had some issues in the playoffs, which is why they didn't do so well against Golden State last year. But, I mean, he didn't think it was as big an issue where he was going to up and leave them. But, listen, I agree he put the players there, but he had some sort of faith in the players that he added to this team.
Did he?
And
Jeff Green,
they ended up
Rodney Hood, Larry
Green's
Nance.
are playing really good. I'm not.
What does he do in the finals? What do you do in the finals?
He's been playing really good. The finals, no one's played really good.
Okay.
He did good that first game. He did good in game one. I thought he had 19 points in game one.
Nah, Kevin Love went off in the first game. I don't know if
it was
what
Kevin Love at 20.
But
I thought Green at least had something.
Nah,
but
I mean,
Green helped them in that Celtics series.
I agree. He had a good game 6 and game 7. Fine. That was his career. Yeah, I don't think he's ever done anything besides that. But my point is, in the finals, ain't nobody saving him. Everyone's getting wide open threes and no one can hit a shot. So clearly, any of these guys, I mean, no, I'm not giving him the benefit of the doubt here because he brought these guys to here. No one's helping him. Hey, you got to take this, man. Everyone,
do you hear this? This is coming from the man who's going to name LeBron James the greatest of all time last week in our podcast, and now saying that he brought this all upon himself.
What did I say?
Point that out, everybody. Point that out.
Whoa. Let's not forget what I said. I said if he beat Golden State, I'll call him the greatest of all time because he built this garbage, and he won a championship. Then he's the GOAT. But he's not doing that, so he's not the GOAT.
Oh, because you knew it would never happen, so that's why you made that statement.
Hey, Michael Jordan's safe for now.
So you say. So basically, the Warriors are up 2-0. They play in Cleveland tomorrow night. Cleveland is the underdogs, obviously. Do you think that... I mean, I already know you don't, but do you think that they can at least get one win, if not tomorrow night, at least game 4 out of them?
This is it. They got to win game 3. If they don't win game 3, it's a sweep. I'm calling it. They have to win game 3. Game 3 will give them some life, and I could respect that. They won't get swept. But game 3, they lose, pack it up.
I believe that they can win both games in Cleveland still. I still think that LeBron James can do that with this garbage team. Or, hey, he may just give up like he did in overtime, as Matt said, and just pass the ball to the idiots, which is what he's been doing all season. So I still think they can at least come out with those 2 wins. I'm still not going to count them out yet. But, I can't disagree. If they win game 3, that is probably going to be a sweep. But I can't believe LeBron will get swept. I just don't see it. Don't see it happening at all because he will force at least one win in there somewhere.
If you look at game 2, every time Kevin Love switches on Steph Curry, it's cash money. Like, Steph destroys him. they need to figure something out because Steph broke the record for most threes in a finals game in game 2. You can't let that happen. I don't know what they're going to do because clearly you need Kevin Love on the court because someone on Cleveland needs to score besides LeBron. So I honestly don't know what the answer is because whether it's Love or Thompson, neither of them really could handle Steph, obviously, in the perimeter. He's just going to crack him and bang a three. So, I mean, I honestly don't know what the answer is. You got to pray to God that he misses, basically.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Steph is back to the Steph before Durant showed up. You look at that game 2, he was making threes from out in Nowheresville. I mean, Steph went back to the Steph Curry that we saw in the very first time that he played against the Cleveland Cavaliers in that first matchup of the this fourth time around series that they have going around.
Quadrilogy?
I mean, he was, the quadrilogy. Yes, thank you. I mean, he 0.4 seconds left and just throws back a three from, I'm pretty sure it was the symbol on the side, for Christ's sake. I mean, ridiculous. And it hits nothing but net. I mean, that's the stuff he was doing back in that game 1, that series of when this whole thing started. This was just phenomenal what he was doing. I don't care who was guarding him. He was not missing the shot. He has a quick release. He has a high arc when he needs it. And he was back to the Steph Curry that we came to love in that first series against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And it looks like he may be doing that, and that could be why it could be a sweep only because of he's back to himself. But he was back to himself without Durant doing what Durant was doing. It was a team that didn't need Durant in game 2, and it was all back to Steph Curry being the star and everything. Does he see that? Will that cause maybe some issues because he said, oh wait, I don't need Durant because I can do it again? Or, is he going to be the nice guy and be like, okay, I'm okay with this? But all in all, I mean, he was back. Steph Curry was back, and there was no way. I don't care who was on him. Dude, there was no way that anyone was stopping Steph Curry from making those 9 threes. No way in hell.
And, I mean, you mentioned a couple of times that KD wasn't really KD, but let's not forget, KD shot 10 for 14. That's quite efficient. I mean, yeah, he didn't have like explosive plays or he didn't bang threes like Steph, but I mean, 10 for 14 for 26 points, had 9 rebounds, 7 assists. I mean, KD was still KD, just wasn't balling out like Steph. So if you have those guys going off like this, and Clay had 20, it's tough to stop, obviously. And I mean, as we mentioned before, LeBron can only do so much, and he can't guard everybody. So I mean, that therein lies the issue. There's only one guy on the one team that could guard everybody, and there's only one of him, and they have like 85 guys who could guard LeBron. So I mean, and to make things even worse for Cleveland, Iguodala's supposed to come back. Another guy who could guard LeBron, who already won Finals MVP, basically because of that. So I don't know, Ryan. I know you say they're going to win 2 in Cleveland, but I am very skeptical.
Hey, Iggy is still questionable. I still say he's the best. He's the best defender on LeBron, hands down. I think he's one of the best guys. He's the best guy who can stop him. I don't disagree with that, but he's still questionable. But if he does come back, it's going to be extremely rough on them. It will be. All right, let's get into my hot topic for the 3rd straight week. I'm going to talk about the Golden Knights, but this time it's not on a happy note. We've been rooting for the Golden Knights, and they are now down 3-1 to the Capitals. I'm depressed. I'm sad. Sorry, but no, this is just... The Capitals never won a finals game until Game 2 of the Stanley Cup, and they have done nothing but destroy the Golden Knights in Washington the last 2 games. It wasn't even a game, wasn't anything but 6-2 or something like that. I think pretty sure Game 4 was. So it's been horrible to see. It wasn't the Vegas Knights that we've come to love and watch as they've been destroying every other team in the playoffs. Now they're getting destroyed. Now this is hockey, and 3-1s you can see turn around. It's happened. It does happen it doesn't happen often, just like it doesn't in other sports, but if any team can do it, it can be the Golden Knights. They are projected as the favorites going into Game 5, shockingly enough, after getting destroyed. Because it's their home ice, I guess there's more faith in that. I'm still rooting for them. I still think they can pull it out. It's going to be tough. They've got to come together. That Game 2 loss with that final shot from Washington, it was a tough loss. But they had that game won, and it didn't go their way. But maybe Game 5 can, and they can take that adrenaline back in Game 6 and then finish them off in Game 7 for the sweep. But I was really hoping it would be the other way around, but unfortunately, it looks like the Capitals are gonna possibly get another Stanley Cup get their first Stanley Cup out of this.
Yeah, unfortunately, as all of you guys know, the Golden Knights is the team of the Benchwarmers. We love them. We wanted them to win, but right now, not looking so good. Down 3-1, like Ryan mentioned, but the Capitals are known to blow 3-1 leads, so we could only hope that it happens again with the Golden Knights. I don't know if Ovechkin will let that happen. He is one of the greatest players in NHL history. I would say he might be one of the best players ever not to win the Stanley Cup. So I don't think if he has any kind of say in this, he's probably going to try to finish them off when he can. And I think if, what Ryan said, if this goes to a Game 7, all bets are off, because I believe Game 7's in Vegas, right? Because they have home ice.
Yep, pretty sure that's how it goes.
So, if I was Washington, I would, if not Game 5, you have to finish off in Game 6. I would not want to go to Game 7 in Vegas for a deciding game. And obviously at that time, that would mean Vegas has all the momentum to begin with. So, if I was a Washington fan, which neither me or Ryan are, I would say that they would need to finish that ASAP, because you cannot give a team who's down 3-1 any kind of momentum. On to my hot topic for this week. Usually, this podcast tries to get away from political news, but this kind of relates sports and politics. Donald Trump has retracted his invitation to the Philadelphia Eagles visiting the White House because of their Super Bowl championship. Basically, he did this because of the fact that players on the team either kneeled or had some kind of action during the national anthem, which, sure, whatever you feel like, Trump. No one cares. No one wants to see you, man. I don't think any of the Eagles players are really shedding any tear over this, and so I thought it was kind of funny that he's kind of took this childish route of basically retracting this invitation, because I don't think anyone was really wanting to come there anyway. And after this news, this was asked to LeBron, and LeBron said neither him nor Golden State would go to the White House either, and Steph agreed that would be the case. Which, hey, clearly athletes in today's games clearly have no respect for the White House, which basically speaks for the rest of the population at this point. So, yeah, I just thought it was an interesting story, and I give respect to these athletes to basically for speaking up and basically show their lack of basically approval on the current White House.
Reasons we don't get political, but let me get into it. So he did this for the fact that, like Matt said, there were basically a handful of people who were going to show up for this. He did it for childish reasons, which is not shocking. It is Donald Trump. He is an utter child, and the fact that he's still in the White House still shocks me to this day. But off of that, the other reason that I was looking into and hearing the things, basically because there's only a handful of people going and not many fans were going to be there and all this kind of stuff, that he didn't want to throw this big party because no one was going to show up. And he doesn't like things when people don't show up, because then people aren't talking about him. And so he decided to go on this thing. And it wasn't even 12 hours beforehand, because I'm pretty sure they're supposed to visit him today. and he said this late last night. So him being childish, him doing all this, not shocking one bit. I respect the players who kneel for the reasons that they want to kneel. I respected from the time it had with Kaepernick and it started, and the reasons behind it. It was never disrespecting the military or anything like that. So the fact of him wanting to shun those people out for the ones, I don't want you because you were kneeling, again, all childish, tough talk from a guy that no one really likes. I respect the fact that LeBron James came out and said the Cavs and the Warriors wouldn't do it, and that Steph backed them because they don't approve of him or anything like that. And obviously they've been to the White House, both teams, and they don't need to go to the White House under the circumstances of they're not even liking this man anymore. Like, you know, you're setting a bad example for our country. So there's nothing wrong with that. And people are like, oh, blah, blah, blah. No, listen, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, if you don't respect what he's doing, and he's making our country look like utter joke right now. I have no problems with the fact that these players don't want to go visit. And listen, he's playing this childish game. Like, dude, get over it now. You're like, what, 90 years old? Just go away.
Well, on that note, that's all we have for this week's episode of the Benchwarmers. Once again, because you can subscribe to our podcast on Google Play, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter at Benchwarmers06. See you guys next week.
The Benchwarmers.